Higher rates of internal reporting produce better business outcomes. Programs that successfully encourage reporters to speak up have direct visibility into how these pressures are impacting their organizations. And that direct link is important. And it's a reason for stressing the need to have a robust internal reporting system, incident management and tracking, and robust internal investigation procedures and policies that employees can trust and that employees know will occur in terms of the procedures being followed when they bring a legitimate complaint or legitimate concern through the ethics and compliance communications systems.
Global companies face unprecedented risks and challenges in today's economy. To mitigate these legal and economic risks, companies are rapidly embracing and elevating the importance of robust ethics and compliance programs to promote positive corporate citizenship. On Corruption, Crime, and Compliance, you'll hear from industry leaders and insiders about how to create effective ethics and compliance programs that will mitigate risks and maximize financial performance. Here's your host, Michael Volkov.
Welcome, everyone, and this is another episode of Corruption, Crime, and Compliance, and we're going to talk about NAVEX's 2024 Whistleblower Report and the important trends. I always like coming back to this NAVEX report each year because you can get a good look at sort of the status of whistleblowers, the status of employee reporting, the substantiation rates for reporting, and important trends. NAVEX, obviously, as the leading provider of hotline services around the globe, has access to incredible data. So let's take a look at the report from 2024. It was obviously capturing all of the data from 2023. And this report is really interesting. Basically, just a couple of notes about how NAVEX does this. They comb through the data from 3,784 organizations for 2023. Its headline conclusion, 2023 was a busy year, a record level of use, and the substantiation rate reached an 11-year high. More reports came in and more were found true. Such an increase is a good sign, not a bad sign. It means that employees trusted their respective hotline reporting system to produce positive results. And the increase in internal reporting comes at a critical time because government-sponsored whistleblower programs promising large rewards are maturing and expanding into new agencies. The SEC's program continues to increase and received a record number of tips in fiscal year 2023. FinCEN's whistleblower program has begun on Treasury issues and sanctions issues, and new whistleblower programs are being launched at the Department of Justice. Internal programs now have to compete against these government alternatives that offer significant financial rewards. But NAVEX reported organizations received in 2023 a median of 1.57 reports per 100 employees. And that exceeds the previous record of 1.47 set in 2022, the year before. So more organizations, 23% in particular, received 5 or more reports per 100 employees, making this population the largest in NAVEX's data set. And while year-over-year values fluctuated, every size of organization, from the smallest companies to enterprises with over 100,000 employees, has seen report volumes rise comparing 2021 and 2023. So given the increasing number of reports lodged, the accuracy of those reports increased to an overall median value of 45%, an 11-year high. Anonymous reports, however, accounted for a median of 56% of all reports received in 2023, and the substantiation rate for anonymous reports remains relatively flat at 33% since 2020. However, the substantiation rate for reports made by persons who identified themselves increased to 50% in 2023 after remaining around 47% for several years This is a critical jump and development demonstrating the trust, the reporting system, and the accuracy of reports where a reporter identified himself or herself. As NAVEX consistently points out, and there is research from a George Washington University study, higher rates of internal reporting produce better business outcomes. Programs that successfully encourage reporters to speak up have direct visibility into how these pressures are impacting their organizations. And that direct link is important. And it's a reason for stressing the need to have a robust internal reporting system, incident management and tracking, and robust internal investigation procedures and policies that employees can trust and that employees know will occur in terms of the procedures being followed when they bring a legitimate complaint or legitimate concern through the ethics and compliance communications systems. The NAVEX report also focused on accounting-related reporting. While such reports are lower in the overall percentage to the number of overall reports, totaling only around 4.3% in 2023, these reports often require a robust response because of the danger of a report directly to the SEC or DOJ alleging fraud or errors in financial reporting. Interestingly, these reports, and this is the financial accounting reports, were often combined with the following trends. One, they showed the longest time between when an incident was observed and when it was reported to the organization. That typically reflects the need to prepare and assemble documentation that may support the finding or the report or the basis for the report and the conclusion as to some accounting errors. The second trend, by a large margin, these were the least likely to be reported anonymously, which is interesting. So that means when they have the goods, when they have the data, they're more likely to report it by disclosing their name, knowing how important this is. Third trend is these reports relating to accounting issues experience the longest time to investigate and close the case. Fourth trend is the accounting concerns and financial concerns had among the highest median substantiation rates at 50%. They were also, another trend, most likely to cause an employment separation event as a result of a substantiated case. And finally, they accounted for twice as many of the reports submitted by third parties than the reports submitted by employees. Now, NAVEX analyzed its reporting database for the first time to distinguish between employee reports and third-party reports. This is the first time, in other words, that they tracked reports that came in from third parties, and we could see and compare how many were coming internally versus third parties, revealing that third-party hotline access is really important. NAVEX analysis revealed that third parties were more likely to report business integrity and financial misconduct issues. As a group, third parties made a far greater median share of reports related to business integrity, 50% of reports, versus employees who reported such issues around 17% of the time. These issues included conflicts of interest, vendor issues, fraud, global trade, and human rights. Third-party reports, however, had a lower substantiation rate than that of employees, which is an interesting fact to note. NAVEX also analyzed the types of risk categories organizations received based on their overall report volume. As reporting volumes increased, specific risk categories saw significant increases, such as in the category of HR diversity and workplace issues. Some other interesting trends were the fact that reports of imminent threats was most likely to be substantiated, with nearly 9 out of 10 reports of imminent threats to a person or an animal were proven to be substantiated in 2023. In addition, workplace discord continued to dominate reporting categories. Workplace civility, an important trend, increased to 18% of reported cases, while discrimination constituted 12%, harassment totaled 7.1%, and retaliation reached only 2%. Overall, HR issues totaled 55% of all reports, an increase from prior years 2021, which was 50%, in 2022, which was 54%. And this is not surprising to me because we note that a lot of the employee reporting relates to HR issues. The trend in the increase of workplace civility complaints is an ongoing problem because it just undermines significantly your culture. As civility in the real world, or the outside world, as we say, tends to become more difficult, we're also seeing an increase in the internal corporate world among employees that civility continues to be a problem. This is an issue that I think everybody should be focused on and trying to address, because I've seen more and more complaints coming in with regard to civility issues which undermine corporate culture. Well, that's it with regard to the NAVEX report. Fascinating report. Grab a copy of it. Take a look. Remember the key headline here. More employee reports are being made, big jump from 47 to 50%, and more concerns are being substantiated, much higher substantiation rates. All right, folks, be good, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Corruption, Crime, and Compliance.
If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to support the show is by subscribing on your favorite listening platform. To learn more and connect with Michael Volkov, go to volkovlaw.com.